Good evening, and welcome to the first episode of our Legend of the Five Rings Blood, Bone, and Blade campaign. My name is Will. I will be your storyteller this evening, and we're going to pick up right where we left everybody off. There is the small village of Shiramori Sato that is located in the contested areas of the Phoenix Clan, the Dragon Clan, and the Scorpion Clan, near the mountains to the north, a forest to the south, and a lake to the west, and just open plains to the east. It is supposed to be an idyllic kind of setting, so much so that one of the royal family members, a young man by the name of Miya Hirozaki, has chosen to marry his betrothed here, a Doji Rurumeiji of the Crane Clan. The land is said to be inhabited by some of his peasant lineage, as it was discovered that he was royal family some time ago. And as such, the pawns on the chessboard of this game have slowly come into their places, as we've come to see Doji Izanagi is coming with the wedding procession, protecting this betrothed. We have seen Tamori Mori kind of strike out on their own, and almost get punished by being placed in this village as a way of removing them from their family's sight. And we have seen Kuni Seizo make his way north, following a trail of taint and of Ivanho Sukai, who is hell-bent, pun intended, on trying to destroy what is otherwise a happy and productive empire. And now we get to meet our three players. Hello, everyone. It's good to see all of you. We're going to be playing Legend of the Five Rings 4th edition, which is one of my favorite editions so far. I personally am not a fan of the Fantasy Flight version of the game. I know others aren't as well, but there's no hate here. Every game deserves a platform. As such, let us start, I think, with the procession and the Crane Clan collection of wagons and horses and just peasants that are coming from southeast of where Shiramori Sato sits. Doji Izanagi has been traveling for the better part of a week now. Everyone is excited, and at the same time there's an air of not trouble, but there's apprehension at the distance that has been traveled, and the territory that you're traveling towards. The nights have been uneventful as you've made your way up into the contested lands, but they're cold still. Although the winter court should have ended by now, as this was the last week of most of the winter courts, the land is still hard pressed to relinquish its winter weather, and so you've had to kind of bundle up more than average. On the last day of your journey, close to what would be lunchtime, you can see the banners of the village waving in the distance, welcoming you, and you can hear the sounds of the everyday villagers kind of going about their business. You've crossed a couple of beautiful little kind of arched bridges that have been built over these tributaries from the lake to bring water over to the rice fields to the east of the village itself. And as you're approaching the city, the village, the town, this collection of peasants, you see that there is one large building in the center of this mass of small houses and shacks. 3 stories, wooden, with 3 banners placed on its triangular top. One with the Phoenix Mon, one with the Dragon Mon, and one with the Scorpion Mon. The triangular pattern of the top floor of this building gives you a sense that it was built with the express understanding that there was to be a kind of shared, not control, but observation and interest in the village of Shiromorisato. And as your procession comes closer, one of the other samurai in charge of the protection of this wagon train kind of comes over and starts to command all of the other bushi to shift over to the front, as he will take up the rear. And as everybody kind of starts to shift around and slowly make their way into their new positions, you can see that there is a crowd gathered in the south gate of the city. There is a woman who screams, and you can see the colorful effects of some kind of spiritual attention being brought down into the area. You can hear the chanting of what sounds like some kind of shugenja at work. And as the call is made to stop the procession, and some of the people notice this huge group of incoming citizens of the empire, the crowd opens up like a horseshoe, and you can see what looks to be this green-skinned tiny creature in a brown burlap cloak with these kind of razor sharp and glinting kind of claws at the end of its fingers, and you hear it just rawr, just kind of release this guttural kind of roar, and one of the other guards yells "Goblin."
I am not leaving my charges side.
Gotcha.
She's probably inside one of the wagons.
Yes, she is.
So I step next to the wagon to make sure whatever side of the wagon she's on, that's where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I look, I mention to her that there seems to be a goblin in front of the procession.
You hear her and her ladies in waiting all gasp from inside the wagon.
Don't worry. We're taking care of it. And I just look back at I'm assuming that because I'm her charge, there are other samurai who are probably of lower station than me who will look at me for guidance in this predicament.
Oh yeah.
So I look at one or two of them and I just look toward the goblin and I'm giving the eyes of go and take care of that.
Okay. You see
I can't look.
You see two of them kind of drop down from their horses. They grab a couple of yumis, the short bows, and a couple of flesh cutters, and they start running over towards the group of people. Mm-hmm. As they do, we switch over to Tamori Mori as they are waking up from their evening's work. You're probably one of the few people who aren't Ashigaru and therefore are actually trusted with some of the more difficult portions of being a guard, or being a magistrate rather, out here. Mm-hmm. And as such, you're used to kind of working the later hours. Mm-hmm. Luckily, they don't have you sitting on top of one of the guard towers and just waiting for a peasant to kind of ring its bell to announce for trouble. Like, you actually have a patrol that you've kind of developed on your own. And as you're waking up, you can hear the sounds of the village kind of wafting in from your window. There's a typical kind of, horse trot, the goats kind of scampering about. You can smell the foods that are being prepared for the stands and whatnot. And as such, you hear a knock on your door, and it is slowly opened, and the young madam who owns the house that you're living in slides a plate of breakfast into your room and then slowly closes the door, and you can see the shadow of her walking back down stairs towards the main part of the house.
I'm gonna take the food and hold it and wonder if I should say thank you, but I want to look out the window and see what all the commotion's about. Okay.
You see there are a group of people that are following this older gentleman that you've come to know as Giyomaru. He is he's considered the village's kind of spiritual advisor. He is a kind of Ronin Shugenja. He was trained, from what you've come to talk to him about. He was trained by someone in the Phoenix clan, but he was never adopted by the clan or by the family, and as such, he's kind of had to fend for himself.
Like him. Okay. Can I see all the people in their wagons from my window?
In the distance, you can see just a bunch of, because they are hoity-toity, a bunch of blue, white, and different shades of blue, and what looks to be just the Crane clan symbol. It is extravagant. There has to be maybe, from what you're guessing, because you don't have a good look at them, there has to be at least like 24 wagons.
I'm gonna get ready for my day by shoveling as much food into my mouth as possible, put on my clothes, get all my weapons. Should I make the bed? I'll make the bed because I'm not rude. And then I run downstairs to go see what all the commotion's about outside.
Okay. You get as you roll up the bed and put it away, and you make your way downstairs, fastening all the buckles that need to be fastened. You get swallowed up in this throng of people that are following Giyomaru. And you see that they get to the point where they're at the south gate, and you notice that he's kind of talking to what looks to be one of the orphan children that kind of live in the city. And as he kind of pats him on the head, the orphan kid brings up a clay or ceramic kind of face mask that looks green and has this large hooked nose, and he puts up this hood, and he has these gloved hands with like shards of glass that make him look like he has claws, and he just starts kind of growling like animalistically, and you just back to the old man. And the old man is excited, and he just kind of claps for him, and he just nods, and he's like, just like that. Just like that. And as the crowd...
Is there anyone in this...
Go ahead.
Sorry. Is there anyone in this crowd that is of the Crane familia?
No. This is all villagers.
Okay.
But you see that the crowd kind of starts to get back. They open up what would look like to anyone outside of this as a fighting arena, and everybody kind of starts to cheer. Somebody nudges somebody else, and all of a sudden you see one of the people near you kind of tickle their wife or their significant other, and there's a scream from this woman, and then you hear the procession get closer, and then the crowd opens up towards them, and you can see these samurai in just this beautiful like white lacquered armor with these blue stripes or these blue motifs. The crane symbol is dominantly portrayed on their armor, and as one of them kind of comes closer, you hear one of them yell back, "Goblin!" And that's when you see two of them kind of rush forward with bows, with these short bows drawn and these two arrows that they've knocked, and they're aiming at this little orphan boy.
I go and stand in front of that kid.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now we'll shift over as we go just east of the city, and we find Kuni Seizo traveling, having woken up in one of the outskirt houses, and having been treated to some rice porridge for breakfast from the farmer whose barn you slept in. You can hear commotion coming from Shidomori Sato as you approach. There's a throng of people that seem to be moving from one side of the city down to the southern gate. You also see the three kind of triangular topped buildings with the three banners. And as you come up to the eastern gate to the city, it is a beautiful kind of red wooden timber, red painted timber kind of gate that you see at temples and whatnot. The first thing you see is that there is the smell of just this really beautiful black tea. And you see that one of the lone buildings out this way is a 2-story, beautiful kind of dark wood establishment that has a lotus swinging from its announcement kind of sign. And standing outside is an older kind of not weathered, but a experienced woman drinking from a ceramic little thing, little carafe of tea, and as she sees you approach, she nods in your direction, careful to keep her eyes lower than yours. It seems that even at this direction, she could still see the daisho, and she can recognize the kind of gait of your walk. And as you enter the city proper, you see that there is a second cup, a second little drinking saucer that she had with her, and she kind of slides it into the empty chair and she pours a drink. And you just hear a very soft voice. Tea, traveler.
Have most people been this friendly on my travels?
Not at all.
Because I look pretty disturbing.
Yeah, not at all.
So, because I'm in my full garb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting. I will take her up on her offer.
Okay. It is a nice, mellow black tea, which is surprising. It tastes like honey has been infused into the actual brewing of it, as far as like the inside of the carafe might have been laced in honey as it was allowed to steep. But you see that she keeps her head down as she drinks with you, and she's just like, you appear to be far from home, samurai. We don't get many of your kind
As
here.
My duty takes me in all directions.
Spoken like a true samurai. What brings you to our village?
Curiosity.
Hmm.
I am following someone curious.
I don't recall curiosity being one of the tenets of the Bushido. I will have to revisit my teachings. And she smiles.
Well, you seem to learn all you can about tea. This is fantastic.
She nods again to you, and she's like, what I have learned from my master, and he has brought his wisdom from the southern lands.
I thank you very much for your hospitality.
Shall I call him for you?
Sure.
She gets up, careful with her vision, and she steps inside. And after a moment, she steps back out, and she says, "Samurai, young samurai, this is my master." And as she motions, you see a beautiful kimono of the redder shade of purple, some streaks of black, and just a gold trim. And as you look up, you see this well cared for kind of head of long black hair, and the bottom part of his face is just masked in this beautiful 3 or 4 layered silk mask, and each layer kind of builds on the motif of the scorpions that are kind of creeping out from his ears towards his mouth. And it almost looks like the pincers are holding his mouth closed as he kind of steps out. But he sees you, and barely visible behind the layers of silk, it's more visible to you in his eyes, there is a kind of smile. And he steps around and he bows low to you as he takes her seat at the table. I had heard that there was a call for someone of your skills in this area. How fortunate, then, that we are blessed with your visit. I am Bayushi Saimon, samurai. It is an honor to meet one of you this far away from the wall, from the Shadowlands.
The pleasure is mine, Ayushi. I would say that it is regretful that I am here, or that does not bode well.
Well, I, for one, welcome the distraction. And as we shift back to the circle of chanting villagers, you notice, Pete, that there is a huge member of the village that kind of steps out from the group and steps in between your procession and the goblin. They are armored in dragon colors, but easily they're at least a foot taller than the tallest member of this audience.
Okay, so I bark a command to the two samurai with the bows drawn to lower their bows. Can I do an investigation check?
You sure can. First roll of the night.
Just...
Are you trained in that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you're gonna hit the second D20 button.
No, I'm not actually. No,
Yeah,
wait a minute.
yeah.
I am trained. I have two
Yeah,
rings.
yeah, you're trained.
So the second button.
Yeah, the T.
Boom.
Did you roll it? There it is.
That's
There
weird.
it is.
Thing happened.
Yep.
Give me a second.
That's it. Yeah, 16. Nice. One of them kind of looks back at you, confused. The other one, kind of, you hear under his breath, he's like, "It must be an ogre." But as you look out and you kind of take in the sight of this samurai, you see that it is built almost like a crab, but there's no distinguishing features.
I look at my charge. Will return. I look back at several samurai and point at the wagon like, "Stay here."
They do. They immediately come over, swords drawn.
And then I start walking up, and I walk in between the two samurai that had their bows.
Mm-hmm.
And if either one of them still has their bow drawn, I literally push the string back down.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so it doesn't have tension.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, calm down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I try to give that. If one of them, do both of them have it drawn, or was it one? It was one, right?
One had it completely drawn and knocked back to his chin. The other one had it taut and kind of pulling back, but not anchored in
So
any
he's
way.
okay. So I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about the guy with it already drawn.
Yeah.
So when I push it down, I give him a look to try to give him some confidence, like, calm down. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to relay it with just a look.
Yeah. Yeah. He respectfully brings his bow down as you kind of lean him in that direction. But you see that as you step forward, he kind of looks at the other samurai that's there, and you hear them both kind of walking with you.
Okay. I walk straight up to this dragon who's definitely has a bit of crab in their lineage.
Right? But you see, as you step forward, the creature that was called this goblin, that was that people were afraid of, it kind of peeks out from behind this samurai, and And Ray, you feel him kind of like peeking out, kind of holding on to the skirt part of your samurai armor. And as you get closer, you notice it brings its kind of leathery hand up and pulls down what is its face, and you see that it is a mask, and that this is actually a small boy who is kind of dressed up like a goblin.
I close my eyes real quickly and a small prayer, thanking the fates thanking the kami that we did not kill this child.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, thank God.
I'm gonna go ahead and
I look at the dragon.
Mhm.
I give her a bow,
Okay.
like a thank you.
What were you gonna say, Ray?
I'm gonna go down, turn around, bend down, get on the little kid's level.
You
And
reckon
tell him.
now that you're this close, you recognize him as Ginte.
Mhm.
He's one of the orphan children.
Kinte, you're scaring people. The crane people have a brain the size of a bird, so they can't think a lot. You scare them. So do me a favor and go play with the other kiddos, because even though they're grown-ups. So I push him along. I stand up and I look at this brave warrior who is about to attack a child.
Yeah, there's 3 of them standing in front of you.
Mm-hmm. I bow, half bow, and just say, "Scary, huh?"
It was an overreaction. It happens.
Mm.
Maybe the crowd. I look at the crowd for a second. I'm thinking about why they parted that way.
There, you see that once the little boy is kind of reprimanded and shoved back towards this old man who was the point of origin for all of these effects. There's a bit of disappointment.
Take a note of that man's face.
Mm-hmm.
I have a strange feeling they wanted us to kill this child. I send the 2 samurai back.
Okay.
And I look back at the dragon and I go, whom do I have the honor of addressing?
I look down at him since he's, and
Oh, by the way, when I'm looking up at you, because I have a wide brim hat, I actually have to like look up at you to see past the hat.
Tamori Mori, nice to meet you. And you would be Bird?
Doji Izuyagi.
I'll take note of that.
As will I. Thank you.
No worries.
Your service here will be noted.
You hear,
Okay.
as you 2 are having this discussion, that the procession has already started to continue its travel into the village. And as they do, the crowd kind of starts to part from the other side as a small group of Ashigaru kind of come forward asking for space. And you see that in this group of about 4 Ashigaru magistrates, there are 2 samurai. One is dressed up in the typical kind of reds and yellows and kind of orange trims of the Phoenix clan. And then there is a young lady who is kind of very stoic looking, black hair that's tied back, but very much familiar to you, Pete, in the dragon colors, green, yellow, with just a trim of ivory in her robes, unarmored, but she does carry a wakizashi. The Phoenix samurai does carry the daisho, the full daisho. And as they approach, you see that they look around. One of them kind of turns over to one of their Ashigaru that are with them, and you hear them kind of whisper something at them, and the Ashigaru nods and runs off towards the east side of the village. But the dragon steps forward, and she looks around, and she's like, would someone please like to tell me what has happened here?
I run and I volunteer. Let me talk to this. So I bow very deeply.
Yeah.
And
I have a raised eyebrow at the dragon doing this, and in the back of my head, I'm like, this might be entertaining.
Mm-hmm. If the crane behind me is in view, I'll just open my kimono so nothing can be seen past me, the wall. So I bow deeply and introduce myself as Tamori Mori. And I explain that the people that look... So those people, they look really good. They were coming through the city, and then, like, their samurai saw a child and said, I want to kill the child, but I jumped in front of the child because children are always innocent. That's what I've always said. And then I saved the kid, and now that guy is groveling in the corner. So that's what happened. Hi. What's your name?
The dragon that you recognize, because she is one of the representatives that lives in the city. This is Kitsuki Naomaru. She is a historian by trade, and she is the one that you report to as far as dealings with the clan and your family.
I didn't recognize you. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
But she smiles at you as your exuberance kind of washes over them, and she's just like, Tamori-san, there are two sides to every story, and now that we have learned yours, I ask, and she kind of steps aside and she motions for you to step forward, Pete, and she bows. She bows to you.
I take one step forward and I bow, and I'm going to use etiquette because I want to say this in a way that is not because my character would probably be more eloquent than I am.
Yeah.
Not an outward slap, but mentioning that omission is not really honesty.
Okay. Go ahead and let's roll your...
No, I got it. Yes,
Yeah.
There are two sides to every story. There's usually... Wait a minute, is there a scorpion within, like, hearing distance of right now?
Not currently. Not that you can see.
Perfect. There is two sides to every story. The truth and a scorpion's words.
Roll your sincerity. And it is trained, so you get to use your...
Yeah, that's right.
the middle button.
I did. 16!
Okay. She nods to you. And then you see her kind of look back towards the tall building in the center of town. And as she turns her attention back to you, she's like, I'm going to get every side of the story, as there are multiple witnesses here, and everyone has a different experience with what's happened here. But you have been accused of, and I use the term loosely, of wanting to bring harm on a child. And as she looks at the child and she sees that he's kind of sheepishly still wearing his costume except for his face mask, she turns to the old man and then back to you, and she's like, I can only assume that some prank has gone awry. And for that...
Yes, and thankfully, the honorable Tomori-san, and I nod to her, saw what was going to happen and stepped in the way.
I see. Clearly, our zealous advisor and you You don't have to roll to pick up on the venom she has in that word. But she says, clearly our venerable advisor has tried to create a very light atmosphere for your arrival and has failed in that endeavor. And
Advisor, you say?
yes,
And then just give a little nod.
But we, and she motions to the phoenix next to her, we are representatives of our clan with the interest in this village. We have summoned the third member of our council, but we appreciate that Miwa-sama and his betrothed have chosen this village as the site of their wedding. As such, we invite you to come into the magistrate building so that you may have some tea with us and that we may discuss where to set up your procession.
I will bow deeply in acceptance of that honor.
She turns to the phoenix, Shiba-san. I think it's best that we take a few members of this audience, and let's get to the bottom of what happened here.
I bow deeply and say, me. It'll be my honor to go.
Yes, of course. Tamori, please. Tamori-san, please follow me as we set up for our new visitors in the magistrate building.
On the way there, are we passing any other cranes?
No, not at all.
Hold up. Before they walk away,
Yeah.
Tamori-san,
Yeah. Hi.
I think, and I owe you a cup of sake.
Okay. Thanks.
And I turn around and just walk back to the wagon.
Okay. In the middle of your discussion for tea, as we shift over to the Lotus House, you see a magistrate in Ashigaru armor kind of rush over, bow low to the both of you, and he says, "Bayushi-san, there seems to be a commotion at the south gate." And with utmost calm, you see him finish the sip of his cup and place it on the table, and he motions to the woman who has been standing at the doorway this whole time, and she steps around and starts to clean up the table. He looks down and he's just like, "Samurai, please understand that I don't leave you to be rude, and as such, please enjoy another of my finest bottles of tea if you so like, but I must attend to business."
I will join you.
Excellent. And as you both kind of make your way over to the site of all of this shenanigans, you see the ending of that scene and everybody kind of making their way to where they're going to. And
How long does it? How long does it take us to get there?
it is maybe like a 15-minute walk.
I'm gonna prod him for information on why he's happy my presence is here. What does he know?
Okay.
Assist me in my investigation.
Yeah. Let's have you roll your investigation then. And I believe you are trained in that.
Hey.
So you get to use your middle button.
Yeah.
Hot damn. 35.
I see things.
You see the truth in all the lies. But yeah, as you're walking with him and you're talking, he mentions like you bring up naturally, your countenance and how people are kind of put beside themselves whenever they see you.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Oh, no, sir. I know a crab is not the monster that they make you out to be. I also know that there are truths that your clan has seen that we can only fear in our nightmares. So, if something has drawn you here, I can only assume that it has to do with what has been found in the north."
Do I know about what happened in the north?
You don't. And he continues, he's like, I doubt that you are here for the wedding, unless you are a friend of the Imperial family member, or maybe the Crane courtier that he is marrying. But I don't see that.
If I attended that wedding, I'm sure my clan would send me deep into the Shadowlands.
And he does kind of allow a small chuckle, and as you're walking with him, he's like, they say that your appearance is usually following the wake of some great tragedy. I hope that is not the case that we are seeing here.
Me too. Me too.
Excellent. Do you have a place to stay while you are in the city?
I don't.
I will make myself my tea house available to you, sir. I might have a room. It was a storeroom for tea, but it can be made available. The finest of cots can be brought down for you, if you so please.
I'm gonna do the whole, where you deny
Three
his
times?
offer.
3 times?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He's like, excellent. I will have no more refusal, and I will put the word in when we arrive. I think discretion is the better part of valor for people like us. And he kind of nods at you. And as you've seen, my establishment is far enough away to be removed from prying eyes.
I like to make my presence known.
Oh,
Tends to make my prey nervous.
I see that you and I come from different schools then. And as he says that, you notice the man in the phoenix colors kind of motions for him, and as he sees you, he kind of tilts his head, has this moment where he's kind of taken aback, but you see him go through the pleasantries of bowing to you. And as you approach, the Bayushi motions to him and he's like, my new friend, this is Shiba Yagao. He is the representative of the Phoenix clan here in the city. The three of us together, Shiba-san, myself, and Kitsuki-san, represent the advisors to the town's familial daimyo.
Excellent. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, he nods and he's like, yes, a pleasure, yes. They are waiting for us in the magistrate building. And as he motions, the three of you walk over to the tall building. At this point, you walk into what would be a regular courtroom, as far as like where court is held, not like a modern day courtroom. And you can see that there are two dragon representatives. There's one that is unarmored, but wears the wakizashi, which is kitsuki that I described earlier. The other is this monster of an androgynous person that's just easily a foot taller than you are. The armor seems to be specially made for them, but they are wearing the daisho. And as the door slides open to Morimori and you hear visitors come in, you see that it is not the crane that have entered the building. It is the Shiba that you recognize as the Phoenix representative, and the Bayushi Saimon, who is the the Scorpion representative. And then there is a third person that you have not met at all. And if you would like to describe what your getup looks like, please, to them.
Yeah. So as we come inside, I remove my wide straw brim hat, and I have long, shoulder length black hair pulled back into like a sort of like a rough ponytail. My face is painted stark white, and around the jawline are red, jagged teeth designed to be a maw encompassing my face. And I'm just in traveling clothes that look well traveled in, but with the crab colors. And with most of the crabs, it's a blue and like a steel gray look, and the crabs on it are jade green, sewn in, or jade color.
Nice.
And I have the daisho at my hip, and I have a walking staff.
Okay. Ray, would you like to describe what Morimori looks like?
They're really small.
Yes.
They're no, they're huge, and they enjoy taking up space. They are they're very traditional looking, and their looks are deceiving in the sense where they have a resting face that's very serious and very stern. But if you couldn't tell, the inside of them is not like that. They have black hair as well, and they're wearing the traditional dragon-colored kimono. Yeah. And they have their two swords.
Yep. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they everybody kind of walks in, and the Scorpion representative is the one that kind of comes over to you. He has a tendency of calling you Little Dragon. It is a moniker that you can feel free to either enjoy or dislike, and I will respond accordingly as I see what your response is. But it is something that he's never used it maliciously.
Mm-hmm.
It is just something that he truly does kind of get a joy out of you being so large compared to everybody else. But as he steps forward, he comes over. He's like, "Kitsuki-san, my little dragon friend. This is the newest member to come into the village today, as I've seen that we are being invaded," and he uses the term, almost with a chuckle, "by the Crane clan." And as he says that, you see two kind of really elegant, very clean-lined Crane members come into the room, followed by the Crane samurai that you talked to this morning, just outside the village. And as you guys are sitting down for this court meeting, there is a moment where the whole truth of the situation comes out. Giumato comes clean about having come up with this kind of scene of him defeating a goblin to kind of bring good fortune to the wedding, and how he didn't mean to get Ginte into any kind of mortal danger, that it was all just a kind of act that called back to the very founding of the village, when, you know, one of a small group of samurai kind of cleansed an old Naga hideout of goblins, and then chose to kind of erect a village over this new territory that they fought so hard to kind of claim, but that he didn't mean any disrespect whatsoever, and he didn't mean for it to get as out of hand as it did. The Kitsuki is the first to kind of stand up, and you see that the second they take breath in, excuse me, to speak, the Bayushi, without moving from his position, just kind of says, well, there has been no harm in the situation, and you have learned the error of your ways. It would be foolish, I think, to punish such a venerable member of our society. Wouldn't you agree, Kitsuki-san? And he turns to look at her almost like a tiger observing its prey. And there's a moment where she turns completely away from everyone, so he's the only one that gets to see her reaction. And as she turns back around to the rest of the court, there is a slow kind of smile that comes over her at the bottom part of her face, and she nods and she says, the wisdom of the scorpion is correct here. There was no harm done, and although the intentions were pure, I feel that the execution could have been worked better. But as we all have something to learn from this, and she kind of turns to look at Tamori Mori, I feel that there are more lessons learned on our own than can ever be taught. And again, the Bayushi has a very kind of tap of his hands to show appreciation. He's just kind of gets up and he's like, very well, if we are done here, I have business to sort. I must prepare a room for our new guest here. And he kind of motions to the crab in the group.
I want to ask the crab a question. Can I stealthily get his attention?
How do you want to try to get his attention?
That's the tree of a person.
Hey!
That is stealthily as all hell.
Do I notice this?
Yeah. Everyone notices this.
All right.
Hey!
I look over. Yes. You look like you've escaped the crablands.
You sleep in that?
No.
Oh. So you do it every morning?
Yes.
Oh my god, she reminds me so much of Hida Ogo.
Yeah, Aguro?
I have a smile on my face because I kind of see my best friend in her.
Yeah.
I'm like, all giants act that way. Yeah, it's a trait.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm like, all giants act like that. It must be a trait.
It must be. It must come.
They're big. Yes.
Has to come with the size. But yeah, you see the three representatives kind of walk out with Giomaro, the old man, and the last one to leave is the dragon. And she looks over the three of you. She's like, "Please, feel free to finish the tea that we have prepared for you. If you need any help, and this she kind of nods more towards the crane in her comment, but she's like, if you need any help, please feel free to seek out our envoy Tamori Mori here. And she motions to the very large dragon.
I'm sure I won't have any problems finding them.
Of course. But their house is just down the street they live with, and they give you the name of the peasant and what the house looks like.
Noted.
But they give you directions to where they live. And then she walks out entirely, and the room is left to the three of you.
At this point, I calmly reach my bag. I pull out a small sake bottle. I pull out 2 cups. I put one in front of Tamori, one in front of me. And Tamori, you notice that the cups are decorated with a crab motif. And I pick out one more cup and I look toward the crab.
Crab?
What is the purpose of this?
I
He
owe her a
almost
cup.
killed it.
Celebration?
I owe her a cup, and it would be rude not to offer you one.
If-
Yes.
If you don't
Cranes and
want
their
it, I'll
manners.
take it.
So then I pour hers, and I pour
It would be rude to.
yes.
I sit down.
And I pour hers, and I pour his, and then I leave it there so one of them could pour mine. It's bad luck to pour your own sake.
It is bad luck to pour your own sake.
I look at the crab.
Yes, Tamori.
Cup. Point to the cup.
Oh, I grab my cup.
The other one.
Yes.
I look at both of them very confused, and I go, "It's bad luck to pour your own sake."
I reach over, grab the sake and pour it.
Thank you.
I was like, it's also bad luck to play with goblins.
Fair enough. It was a long road. I have no excuse. And I nod to both of you, and I nod to you. Take my drink.
What is the sake taste like, Pete? How do you envision it?
I'm one of those people that believe the sake tastes as good as your day or as your life currently is.
Mm-hmm.
And for me today, it would probably be a little bit bitter.
Okay.
It's good, but I'm like, because I'm playing back how I could have handled entering the city better.
Yeah.
Because in retrospect, it was kind of dumb for me to think a goblin in the middle of a crowd of people and the crowd of people not killing the goblin.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, God, I was so dumb. I'm not saying that out loud, but that's going through my mind.
Okay. So there's a shared quiet moment between the three of you. One of what could be many, or one of what could be just few and far between. And there is this kind of moment where everything is serene. You know, regardless of what could have been, what might have been, and what didn't end up being the morning, there is this collection of samurai in one room that have no business being in the same room together. And as you guys are sipping or downing or just kind of nursing your sake, there is a scream that pierces the silence. And it is blood-curdling. Nothing like it was this morning. And in retrospect, now you kind of hear that this morning's scream was a little more jovial in nature. Whereas this is kind of terror-driven. And as
I look straight at the crab's eyes, and I run, like shit. It go in the direction of the scream.
sure.
But I probably drank all the sake at once in typical crab fashion.
Yes.
You know, like just shots it. And when I hear
leave,
that,
by the way, I leave the cups there. I'm pretty sure they're not going to get robbed by the time we get back. I'm not going to pick those up now. Let's go.
Yeah.
yeah, I spring up and run in the direction of the scream.
Okay.
I get offended that the crane didn't look at me first, and then I go after both of them.
Yep.
That's true.
This
That's
is
true. I want the lost Tita with me.
And as the three of you kind of make your way out towards the front of the magistrate building, you see that as you as you come out into the busy street, there is a hole in the crowd. There is a semblance of fear and terror as the festivities have come to a very violent halt. The typical sounds are kind of muted here as people are backing away and whispers are starting to infest the crowd. And even the kind of smells of like the little kind of stands that have ramen or yakitori, they become tainted by the smell of copper, and the air kind of tastes metallic. And as the crowd opens up around you to let you see the scene, you see that there is one of the crane courtiers sitting in a pool of blood, and just this very jagged kind of obsidian blade sticking out of their side. How would the three of you like to proceed?
Did anyone see anything? I shout towards like the crowd.
And while he's doing that, I am looking around, scanning the outside of the crowd for anyone who looks even the slightest bit suspicious.
Nope.
I drop my weapons.
Okay. Two swords come out of their sheaths in regal fashion. Somebody holds up their hand to your question of if anybody saw anything, and then immediately backs away from this frenzied samurai. Pete, go ahead and make an investigation check for me. And let's see what your crane eyes see.
Not much. A 9. I'm too shocked. I'm too shocked by what I just saw.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm like,
yeah. This is exactly the opposite of what you expected this job to be. There is no reason why one of your crane emissaries should be should be lying face down on the floor with an obsidian blade, like a jagged piece of obsidian with a leather thong kind of wrapped around it for a handle sticking out of their side. And as you're trying to scan the crowd, your eyes instinctively go back to the one person holding their hand up because they want to be helpful, and then down to the blade, and then over to Tamori, who is just holding their two swords out, almost like they're ready for combat. And
I want to try to use sincerity. If she's a player, I'm not going to use it on her like that, but I'm trying to calm her down. Like, I think they're gone. Tamori-san.
Can I investigate as well?
Oh, by the way, Tamori-san, you see the just sadness on my face. Oh, by the way, did I talk to this courtier a lot, like on the road? This particular one?
Yeah. Because
you see this look of just sadness on my face when I look at you.
Because she just had
they're gone.
She just had a daughter, and she was asking you for advice.
Wow.
Because she wanted to have
that
she
hits
wanted
me
to have a
hard.
second one.
So, and Tamori-san, well, you kind of get the feeling that what I'm saying to you is not only that they're gone, that she's gone.
Yeah, but yeah, go ahead and make
Is
an
that-
investigation check, Ray.
Will do.
You have a train
God
too.
damn it.
Everybody's trained in investigation, but nobody is as high as James.
Nope.
Oh my god, that's
to be
fantastic.
fair, I'm like an FBI agent.
Yeah. No, I love it though. Everybody's just like, "What do I see? Fucking nothing." And then James comes along.
Nothing.
How'd you miss this?
We're just too
How'd you miss
shocked.
this?
We're
Yeah.
too shocked by this. Yeah, I know that I probably have never seen anything quite like this.
No.
So in all my years of serving the Empire, it's like I've dealt with like bandits and stuff.
Yeah.
This is like
Everything that you've dealt with has had an air, a tinge of honor to it. You know, even when you're
Yes,
dealing
and
with
this is just-
with bandits, it's always face front. Combat is initiated, and then they pay the price for their mistakes. This is treacherous. This is cold. This is something that just doesn't sit right in your stomach at all. As the person who held up their hand kind of steps forward, the rest of the people kind of start to back away. There's whispers of like what this could mean. Is the wedding cursed? Things like that start to kind of spread through the people. And the peasant that steps forward is this kind of older gentleman. He's got a wispy black beard with just these kind of stray gray hairs that have kind of infested it. No hair on his head, kind of bushy eyebrows, these very dark eyes. Simple clothing, kind of layered in his extra kimono, but not really built for the frost or the snow. Really, it's just kind of like if it gets a little colder, like he will be in a bad position given what he's wearing. But he steps forward and he's just like, I saw her, and she was talking to someone, and then I heard the scream, and when I turned around, the person they were talking to wasn't there, and they were on the floor, falling, holding their side. I can describe the person they were talking to if you'd like, Samurai, and you see that he is meekly kind of holding his hands and looking down, trying to avoid any kind of eye contact whatsoever.
Please describe them.
Yeah, he was a tall man, not as tall as them, and he points at Tamori-san, but taller than you, just slightly, sir, and long black hair, a very nice kimono, and it looked like somebody that might have come in with them from the crane procession. They had a very similar colored robe, sir.
Anything else?
I tried not to look at their face in case they were samurai, but I didn't see that either one of them had the daisho, sir. So I erred on the side of caution. I apologize. And you seem kind of like bow low to you.
Right. Thank you. Of course, it's a peasant, so what he says means nothing. Ultimately, in court.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But I will investigate the area. I will search the area.
Okay. Let's have you make an investigation check.
Would this be search, or would this just be a regular investigation?
Are you looking for anything in particular, or are you just kind of canvassing the...
No. I'm canvassing to see what's happening.
Then it'll be...
See if I can put together what happened.
Yeah, then it's just investigation.
Okay, because I have search as a...
Yeah.
As a... whatever it is.
We'll treat search as if when you're looking for something specific.
Okay.
23. Sure enough, as you kind of like start to look around, being very mindful of not touching the body or anything in its area, and staying away from the blood, you notice that the wound itself was not what killed her. The blade looks to have been plunged into the right hand side of her body, and it is, even though it is jagged, excuse me, there's nothing that from just a cursory glance that looks like it could have done the kind of damage that has led to this amount of blood being lost.
I'm gonna make a lore Maho roll.
Oh. What are you trying to learn?
If this was blood magic. Or would it be Shadowlands? It's the same.
No.
Do I have the same?
Maho.
One less
Maho.
than Shadowlands.
Yeah, Maho
Okay.
is actually for blood magic. It looks like there must have been something else involved for this to have been as grievous as it was. So you can assume that if it wasn't blood magic, it was something associated with the Shadowlands. Like there has to be something in the knife, you're assuming, or if not the knife, then the wielder for sure had to have been empowered in some way, shape, or form.
Okay. I do have the Shadowland skill. Should I roll that one or just leave it?
With just the amount of information that you have currently, you don't need to roll right now.
Okay.
Once you get that knife out of her, though, or you have some Edda look at the wound, then you can actually start to.
Yeah.
Doji, do you have any idea
I
who
look
might
at,
be?
Tamori Mori.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
You're
I'm
good.
gonna look at you and say, keep everybody away from this. This looks to be touched of the Shadowlands. And I require Etta to pull the blade from the corpse.
And as soon as he says that, I will look at whatever's the nearest peasant next to me and be like, get one now.
Immediately, you see the peasant just kind of rush off. What were you want?
And then I look at another peasant, and I tell them to go to the crane assembly for them to send over a Shinjuka
Shugenja.
and a samurai.
Okay.
Immediately.
They rush off as well. What did you want to say, Ray?
I wanted to ask Doji if he had any idea who might be involved or who had a grudge, since it seemed to be what the peasant said. It seemed to be another crane.
I look at her, and the face I give her is a face of like a crane would never, ever do this. It was clearly an imposter.
You trust way too easily, Doji.
Would your clan member trust an imposter? I mean, I'm sure you know everybody you traveled with. Wouldn't they immediately know this person is an imposter?
That's what I'm wondering.
I'm going to stand back and make sure.
I've heard stories of what's where would I would flat out say it. I've heard the story of spies who in time could make themselves look like someone else.
What did you want to say, Ray?
I'm just going to make sure that the crowd of people, peasants, these guys are way too bougie for me. The crowd of people back up. And I motion for them to back up. And then I sheath my swords and go to the woman's body to check out her wound.
Okay, are you actually going to touch the wound? Because that is...
If I notice that, I will use my sheathed sword to try to hold your hand at bay.
Okay.
Okay.
Why?
Like, I would not touch that. The more
Okay. Got it. Magic. And then I step back.
As you step back, the one peasant that was asked to bring Etta kind of rushes forward, and there's an elderly couple. They look to be like in their late 50s, early 60s, and they come over, and you see them just with this. They each throw over their heads this leather, kind of very ruddy colored apron, and then you see them pull on these very heavy duty kind of leather gloves, and they just walk over. They kind of start to stand by the body, like their boots are just soiled in the blood of this kind of crane that's bled out, and they step over and they nod, looking towards the three of you. It's just like, how can we help you, samurai?
I just motion toward the
blade.
crowd.
Yeah, remove the blade.
The lady comes over. You see, with very little love for what she's doing, she puts one foot on the crane's back, reaches down and just pulls the blade out. And as it is pulled free of the body, there's a moment where a shiver kind of shoots down your spine, James. Because you see that as the blade is removed, the tip of it kind of spider webs into the body and pulls some of the veins along with it.
I go noticeably pale seeing this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially because there's a little bit of black bile that kind of comes out of the wound once the blade is removed. Mm-hmm. It's like a clump of it.
Secretly fascinated. So secret, though. Nobody knows.
Nobody sees you leaning down, just like, what is that?
Like that.
Yeah. But she holds up the blade in her two gloved hands.
I had them place it on like a piece of anything, like, and then put it on the table.
Okay.
Of some sort.
Yeah. They produce a leather kind of envelope, and they kind of wrap it in this thick leather strap.
Okay. I had to roll the body.
Okay.
See if there's anything I didn't notice.
Yeah, as the male kind of bends down and pulls her along the side that the wound is on, you hear a tearing sound as he starts pulling up on the body, and you notice that the wound starts to kind of shoot out in either direction, and it almost looks like he's pulling a marionette in half. And as he kind of falls back and the back half of this woman falls with him, the internal organs all have been kind of siphoned of their life-giving juice, and there is just a husk of a body.
Well, that's unpleasant.
What
Is her head still intact?
Yeah, it's just in half, like the back half and the front half.
Okay, so I don't have to worry about it.
It looks like the body.
Refrain from asking Doji to cut the head off.
Yeah, it looks like the body has been just cut in half, lengthwise from top to bottom. And even it is something that you notice that this Eta has not seen, because as he stands up, he vomits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty gross.
Yep. I concur.
And anyone that was still here has left at this point.
Yeah, as it is.
That is interesting.
I'm gonna go take a look at the weapon.
Okay.
I'm gonna take out my little book that I have, and I'm gonna kind of take some notes and draw a rough sketch
Okay.
of this, and then I'm gonna go inspect the weapon once I'm done with that.
Okay. Sure enough, as you have them unfurl the weapon for you and place it on like some table that has been brought over, once the body has kind of been opened, you notice that the spider webs at the tip have dried off and kind of fallen to dust.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the blade itself now looks cracked and overly fragile. It's starting to flake.
Okay. Once I've kind of sketched it out and not looked for anything, I will break it. I'll shatter it.
Okay.
I'll just take my walking stick and hit it.
Yeah. It is not difficult. Like the first hit kind of shatters it into several pieces, and then as you kind of continually hit it, it starts to just crumble to dust. The only thing that's left is the leather thong that was the handle.
Yeah. Have they started building a bonfire yet?
Actually, I was about to ask Kuni-san. In this
Yes.
predicament, what would be the best way to dispose the body but retain her honor? Because I've never dealt with anything like
I would
this
burn
before.
her.
And I nod.
Well, luckily, looks like she was cleaved in twain, so we won't have to remove the head. But I would burn her.
Good to know.
Cremation will prevent her from rising as a undead.
I look at you like, okay,
Oh,
you know?
that's a thing, huh?
that undead is a real thing then. Okay.
That's
yeah,
not a story.
No. And all this time I thought that that Hito was, just saying stuff like that to scare my kids. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Time to start telling him
Yeah.
to tell
So I
different
will-
stories.
Yeah, I tell the peasants that are there to, get the body and wrap it up, so they don't touch, even the guys with the gloves, because that's scaring the shit out of me, as much as they can, so we could properly burn
Yeah.
the body as soon as possible.
Yeah. Once
I'm gonna help these people pick up the woman and touch the parts that they don't want to touch and all that kind of stuff, so that I can help them. Even though I'm grossed out, I'm also fascinated. Like, how did this happen?
Okay. So you're actively going to touch the dead body.
That is a strange dragon.
Okay. So as you help them,
As she's doing this,
Yeah.
I just look at the crab with a face of like, okay.
No, I shake my head.
Yeah, no, I'm giving you the look of, huh? Oh, okay.
there is a moment when the Edda see you kind of bend down with them to deal with this body, and they kind of look at each other confused for a moment, and as you help them and you wrap the body and everything, you'll drop one rank of honor. But they once the wrapping is done and that you help move them over to this small gathering of wood for the fire, they do thank you, but they keep their eyes averted. They They do it very quietly where no one is listening, and then they kind of go back over to the other two samurai, and the male kind of steps up and he's like, "Well, will there be anything else, samurai?"
I pull out my notebook. I'm like, where do you live?
They tell you where they give you directions to where they live, which is in the northern part of the city where the rest of the slums are.
I asked for them to be specific.
They tell you, they give you a kind of from the north guard tower. They give you directions on how to get to their place.
Okay. Yeah, I note it all down. I will have to check in on them later to make sure this taint has not spread. I don't let them know that.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
Yeah. No,
obviously, they touch this. They need to.
Yeah, they nod.
They need to be checked up on.
And they bow low as they start to back away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but by this time, once the fire gets going, you see that there is a.
Before we set the fire.
Yeah.
I will actually want to say a prayer.
Okay.
Over her.
Sure.
And I will insist to be the one to light it.
Okay.
Because I kind of feel like this was my responsibility, because I'm supposed to be keeping an eye on everybody, and I'm not doing a good job of that.
Yeah. And sure enough, as you're kind of silently giving your prayer, and somebody hands you the lit torch, you see the Shugenja and the samurai. It is the samurai that was ready to kind of shoot the kid. Like he and his Shugenja come over and they kind of bow to you as they see the situation. And the Shugenja female, Asahina, kind of steps up and she's like, "Doji-san, what happened here?"
And I look at the crab,
mm-hmm.
and I go, "I think you would be able to explain this a lot better than I would."
Of course. Has Tamori-san washed their hands? Because if not, I'm going to grab my bottle and kind of demand they hold their hands out while I cleanse their hands.
I have not.
Yes, Thank you. I'm gonna. Yes, I let the crane know pretty much what happened in all gruesome detail,
Okay. Yeah.
as the crab are known to do.
Yeah. I figure it's very much like Van Helsing in Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's like,
for sure.
oh yeah, was she in pain? It's like, no, we cut off her head and then she found peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very blunt and to the point.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you see them aghast as you describe what happened to this woman, and you see the guy's hand kind of go from his belt down towards his hand, the handle of his sword, and the woman is kind of like looking over the dead body, and
while he's explaining it to them is when I'm lighting the fire.
Yeah. And she looks at you, at the three of you. She's like, could this have been targeted? Was someone doing this on purpose?
So the person I've been following, is this kind of their known mode, like what they do, like their motif, or is this new?
No, this is new to you.
Okay. We don't know yet.
I feel like it was sent as a message.
This is Our Lady's handmaiden. Like this is.
And it was done in public, in front of the tea house, where I was invited to.
Yeah, the magistrate building.
And I would see it.
It was brave. Brazen.
Foolish. Because whoever did this, sooner or later, will taste my blade.
Let us hope.
Yeah. She stands there for a moment, looking into the fire, The samurai walks off in a huff.
To the fire, to the body, I do the deepest of bows in apology.
Yeah. She stands next to you, the Asahina, and as you right yourself, she leans in and she's just like, "This is not going to go well with the lady."
I'll tell her.
Have we any word on Miwa-sama's arrival?
I expect his entourage to be larger than ours. It'll be clearly noticeable.
Let's hope that nothing else happens between now and then.
Kuni-san, where will you be staying? I have a feeling we'll be seeing each other.
I will be staying at the Lotus House, under the watch of the Bayushi.
And I have no idea where we're staying. I will tell him where we're staying.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
the Asahina tells you that the procession has been given free reins of the fairgrounds in the south.
Tamori-san, thank you for bringing her to the fire.
Easy.
And I have a feeling those blades of yours are going to be put to good use.
Is that a
Oh,
threat or
one
a
thing-
promise?
Take it as you wish. I didn't describe myself to you guys. I am an older samurai. His hair is peppered. He is late in his years, probably pushing, almost hitting 40. But for his age, he is in very good shape.
Forgot to say that my character is 18.
Oh no, I
I'm 20,
kind of realized the
so-
way you were playing them that they were very young. So I just have this perfect picture of them. It's like right there. Again, thank you, and thank you. I bow to both of them deeply. And I'm gonna go talk to my charge and tell her one of her handmaidens has just been murdered in a brutal fashion.
Yeah. The Asahina leads you to the Crane Enclave.
And as I'm going over there, I tell her that I need parchment and paper because I have some letters to write to her family.
Of course. I will make that available to you. We come back. We will stay on the scene as the two crane walk away, and the fire and this woman burning, and we see the outline of kind of the villagers in the distance as they try to go about their business, but some of them kind of rubberneck and just kind of stop to look. But we see the dragon and the crab kind of standing there. What do the two of you want to do? Do you want to just separate?
Put my hand on his shoulder not in an alarming way, but it might come across that way, and just ask him, how long are you staying in town for?
Until this is solved. My duty
Good,
is
because
to
it was
weed this
real.
out.
Good. It was really boring until you guys got here, so it's exciting now.
You answered my first question, if this has been happening in this town.
No, not at all. Actually, nothing's been happening in this town, and all I've been doing is eating and watching people, and that's it, from my window. So, I'm really that something happened today, even though it was terrible and tragic, but it was still exciting for me.
Oh, I would be more than happy to have you along.
Oh, where are we going?
Where the trail leads us.
Okay. I don't know
How
what
long have
that
you been in
means.
town?
2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask Mori about the person that I'm following. If they've passed through this town, see if anything pops up that they've seen.
Oh,
Chewie, you can give them a bit more about that.
okay. Let's have let's have you make an investigation check, Ray.
Me?
Yeah, see if you. But let's hold on.
Oh, I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on, because I don't wanna key it off of perception. I wanna key it off of intelligence to see if you remember anybody that matches his description. So go ahead and roll it again. Still trained.
Damn it.
10 this time. 17 was
Can
nice.
I hold on? Pause.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can I also roll for performance and make this like the performance of my life, reenacting what has happened in the last 2 years of this town?
Yeah, go ahead and make an acting roll.
I thought it was perform. Damn it. Okay.
Yeah,
Acting.
performance is more for like singing and playing
Damn
an
it.
instrument.
Well, I still rolled well, so haha.
Yeah. 15. Yeah, so there is a very long, convoluted story that is acted out as best as possible, given that you have no furniture or anything, that you're out in the open and there's a burning body about 10 feet away from you. But she tells you the life story of her coming to this village, of them coming to this village, and what has happened, which is absolutely nothing, and how they've been kind of relegated to this nowhere job to kind of be unseen by their family. All of that to tell you that they have not seen this person that you are hunting.
And that's that's today. So that was the whole story, day by day, and that now we're at today.
Yeah, but there were some interesting things there about fish and about having set up a record of who has fished the biggest fish of what kind out of the lake. There is a collection of oddities that they have been solely responsible for kind of getting the town behind, like the tallest stalk of grass for the rice paddies, the biggest shiny rock that can be found in the abandoned mines.
It's mine again.
Yeah, and
Ginto was close. Ginto was close.
Yeah, and the closest acorn that can be found that looks like the emperor. There's.
Mm-hmm.
If roadside attractions could find a home somewhere, they'd be in Tamori Mori's house.
Okay. I'm gonna take some notes of the abandoned mine, because that might be an interesting spot for ne'er-do-wells to hide.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm sure it's pretty late in the evening, or is it still pretty early?
At this point, the sun has set, so it is now gotten dark, and some of the magistrates have kind of started to light the what's it called, the torches and the kind of, I forget what they're called, the little the lanterns of the city.
Tamori, where's a good place to eat around here?
Lady who lets me sleep in her upstairs is really good at cooking. She doesn't speak though. I don't know why. She just She just appears, places everything you need, and then she leaves in the shadows. And I've tried to thank her several times. But she makes the best izakaya in town, so if you want to come follow me, we can go have, I guess, dinner, because I missed lunch. Okay.
Please lead the way, my mountainous friend.
Little dragon. Little dragon.
Little dragon.
But sure enough, you follow
We head
them.
to the place.
Yeah, you follow them back to where they're staying, and you see that as they open the door to this house, there is an elderly-looking woman, kind of long black hair, just streaks of gray through it. There's crow's feet on her eyes. It looks like she led a happy life at one point. And as she sees this mountain of a samurai come in with another samurai who just looks like a demon following in their wake, there is a little gasp as she kind of holds her chest, and then she bows low to the two of you, and then she kind of like in a very soft voice, shall I place a third set for dinner then?
Oh my god, this is the first time she's ever spoken to me.
They usually have the opposite effect on people.
Me? Or you? Oh.
Me.
Yes, third set!
She is startled by the loud, boisterous acknowledgement, and then she quickly goes into the kitchen and comes back and sets a third plate at the table, and then she just serves the two of you first, kind of bringing out several plates of chicken and some kind of rice balls of fish. And then she sets herself up and kind of disappears back into the kitchen to eat, emerging every so often to kind of pick up some stuff to put on her plate and take back.
Okay.
As you two eat, we go over to the Crane Enclave, and you can see that there is a somber mood that has befallen this whole kind of assembly. And as you step over towards the largest tent that has been erected, which is erected first, you can hear sobbing. And as you stand at the door flaps to this tent, you see one of the Crane bodyguards kind of standing there, holds his hand up to you, and as he does, the flaps kind of open, and the samurai that was eager to shoot this goblin in the morning kind of comes out. He sees you, and then he kind of shakes his head in disbelief and kind of walks past you. The bodyguard steps in, and you hear him. Sir, madam, the Doji-san is here. Shall I allow him?
The guy that comes out, by the way, I'm going to give him the look that he realizes he stepped over his station. He, you shouldn't be the one to have told her that.
Got it.
And it's just a stare, so he knows damn well he overstepped his station.
Yeah. He's still kind of like there isn't a visible acknowledgement, but behind his eyes you could see that there was a kind of understanding, but still he's kind of like, this is the road he's blazed and he's gonna stick to it as he walks away from you.
He's gonna end up killing somebody by mistake. He's gonna cause me more problems than he's worth.
And the bodyguard comes out and he holds the flap open for you. He's like, my lord.
Thank you.
Inside, you see that it is just a collection of pillows and blankets. There is a kind of station for her to be attended at and things like that that is now empty. And she's kind of sitting on top of a padded stool, and she sees you walk in, and you can see that she hasn't been crying long. So this guy just told her what happened. And she looks over at you and she's like, Is it true, Doji-san?
So I come in, I pull my katana and the wakizashi out of my belt, put them to my side, go down to my knee, and I bow to her like my forehead touching the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
In apology. Like, I'm telling her, yes, it's true, without saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I am just basically just in front of her, apologizing in the deepest way I know how. Yeah, in the deepest way I know how.
Yeah.
I took my swords off, and my head is touching the ground.
Yep. You don't hear her move
And then
at all. And you can still hear the sobbing. And she's like, I need you to find who did this, Doji-san.
Without looking up at her, I shall.
You may go.
I get up. I pick up my blades. I don't even bother putting them back.
Yep.
I bow again to her with my eyes down. I turn around and I walk out.
Okay.
In this entire procession, who do I think is the most capable person?
As far as what set of skills? Who are you trying to...
Duelist bodyguard.
There is a Kakita. He is young. Maybe just north of 20.
Yeah.
But he was the Topaz champion for his Genpuku. And so he is kind of making a name for himself so far. From the little bit that you've seen, from the little bit that you've seen, he is somebody that would have made your father proud.
I go to him.
Okay.
And I ask him to walk with me.
He bows low to you as you go up to his tent as he's pitching it, and he hurriedly just like drops what he's doing. He's like, "Of course, Doji-san, whatever you need of me."
As we're walking, I tell him that the rumor must be flying around this place like crazy. He probably heard something already.
I have not heard what you do not want me to hear, Doji-san.
I look at him with a raised eyebrow, and I like a little bit of a coy smile, and I nod to him. I've been asked by I forgot her name. My charge is
Doji-sama.
Doji-sama to find and dispense justice upon the monster responsible for what happened earlier today.
Truly an honor,
which
sir.
leaves me in a predicament. I was asked to protect her. You are probably the most capable duelist I see here. And you also know how to handle yourself in court.
You honor me with your praise.
You will stand by her in my stead while I go and investigate what was responsible for doing this.
My blade is your blade, Doji-san.
I put my hand on his shoulder. Of respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, you'll not let your ancestors down. Put up your tent closer to hers.
Of course.
And I a moment before I take my hand off him, I say a prayer to the wind to make his blade strike true in her defense.
This whole day has been windless, now that you come to think of it. When the fire was going, there was no wind. When the crowd had gathered, there was no wind. And yet here, now, a gentle breeze comes over the encampment and kind of blows through some of the tents softly, kind of creating a flap, a chorus of flaps as the wind travels northward from the encampment into the city itself. And as we shift back over to see the end of the conversation between Tamori-san and Kuni-san, the peasant that has put you up in her house kind of comes in, cleans up the plates, and stands at the door to the kitchen. Will there be nothing else, Tamori-san?
Talking to me? No, I'm fine. What about you, Crab?
I'm good as well, thank you.
Very well.
He's fine.
I will retire for the night. And you see her just bow low and back up into the kitchen. And the lights in the second half of the house and the back half of the house start to go out.
They seem very nice.
So why are you here, Crab?
I have been following a Mahosukai for a few months now. And I believe they traveled through this town. However, with what just happened, looks like this also might require my attention.
Yes. Probably. Because I have no idea what that was. I was ready to fight, but nobody was there.
Well, you may still get your chance.
Nice.
Or this kind of thing is insidious and will eventually rear its ugly head.
Trust you. I trust crabs more than cranes.
As you should. I'm more interested in you. I've never met a dragon before. And you are definitely more than what they say.
Don't take my take on a dragon. I was born into the dragons. That doesn't... well... It's a long story. But they don't like me very much, so I wouldn't be a good judge of dragons.
Oh, I'm sure they'll like you more than when they meet me eventually.
You know, that might be true. I would not like to meet them again, though, or see them again, so if we can avoid that, that'd be great. Let's go in the opposite direction of the dragons. Leave them be.
Well,
even though that one girl, though,
take us.
that one girl, though, isn't she? I mean, she's obviously out of my league, but gorgeous.
Which girl?
The Kitsugi. There you go.
Kitsugi.
That one. You see, Kitsugi?
Kitsugi?
I call her Kitsugi.
Okay. Yes. They were quite stunning.
They're really cute. So, but they don't like me I don't know if you could see, but every time we had the conversation, she just kept going. So.
Oh. You sound like you have the benefit of... Well, hopefully you have the benefit of not being betrothed.
I'm not! No!
There you go.
Not betrothed?
Oh, there's still a chance.
Are you... Are you betrothed?
No.
Oh.
No.
Is there a reason?
We are normally given a few years to find our partner, and usually if that does not happen by a certain time, then they will make that choice for us. Unless our family has something to offer, then they will always make that choice normally.
Are crabs monogamous?
Usually,
Oh, okay.
as far as I'm aware.
Okay. Cool.
My family was. I think. I don't know. As far as I'm aware, my parents were.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I
was young when
wanted
my
to
mother
ask.
passed, so
Oh.
I don't know much.
Oh, me too.
Hey, there you
Ditto.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know I'm supposed to have some sort of reverence and sadness, but it is what it is. You know, life goes on. People's moms die.
It's hard to remember them when you are young.
Yeah, that's true.
They're like shadows at the edge of your vision.
You'd wish. But let's steer away from family conversations. Do you have any more of that sake? Did you stick it in your pocket, or?
It might still be at the magistrate's house. I say we grab it.
Hold on, Pete. What's up?
And I get up to.
Did you pick it up?
It's the funny thing they mentioned that, because after I talked to him, I was gonna head back to get my cups that were a gift for me from my best friend.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So the two of you kind of come up with this clandestine plan to go back to check on the sake.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. As the two of you arrive, you see that the crane is there packing up the said sake, putting the things away.
Oh.
I look at them walk in, and I put down the cups again. And I went,
Yes.
there's still half of it left. And
Enough
I
for 3?
pour 2 cups. And I put down the bottle, and this time I look at Tomori-san. Hopefully she'll get the hint. You're not gonna pour my sake? You want to give me more bad luck? It's not like I've had enough bad luck today.
You want me to pour? Say it.
I already poured it for you.
You want me to? pour
you
it
don't
for
know
you?
the tradition.
No.
It's an old and I explained to her the tradition of how it's bad luck, unless you're alone, to pour your own sake.
Are you superstitious?
Have you never seen the kami's work?
I'll pour the sake if this is what it means to you.
Really, you've never
poured
seen
him
the
sake.
kami. You've never seen the kamis at work. You've never seen the unexpected happen, like spider webs made of blood, and I take a shot.
Oh, I take a shot too, right after. That was cool.
Right. So the three of you shoot back the 3 cups that have been put out. There is a little kind of splash of sake left in the bottle. And as you kind of shake it in your hand, Pete, and you kind of try to decide who gets this last little bit, if anyone at all, because you could just save it for yourself, there's a moment where as you hold the sake bottle in your hand and the 3 of you are kind of staring at empty cups, there is a heavy thud that comes from outside.
Are you kidding me?
And this
Sake is cursed.
is where we'll pick up our next episode.
This sake is cursed.
I'd like to thank everybody that came out to join us for our first full episode with the full cast of our Legend of the Five Rings game, Blood, Bone, and Blade. Please Remember to always wear your masks, keep your distance, wash your hands, and just kind of look out for each other as we're still not out of the woods yet. And also, although this has been a rough year, I'd like to let you know that if you need help, do not be ashamed to look for it. If you want to reach out to friends or family members, or if you yourself are a friend or a family member of somebody that is usually a strong personality, don't be afraid to check in on them. And if you have no one to look out for, there's no shame in getting professional help. We all need a little help once in a while. So please remember that you are important and that you are meant to be here. And I will see you on Friday for our Star Wars game, or next Monday for our vampire game, or I will see you in a week for our next episode of Legend of the Five Rings. Until then, be safe, keep your distance, and I will see you when I see you.